What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to episode 3 of the single player Let's Play series. In today's episode, I have a couple of things planned. So we want to get to some better power generation already. It's a little nice that we have some automated power gen, but there are still better options out there. So I've been actively mining and trying to get some diamonds and a few other resources, but I've had no luck. I've gotten quite a few other resources, but no diamonds, which is kind of sucking. Don't really know what to do about that, but we'll just kind of get over it for now. I did want to start this episode off by making better armors, and there we go. So now that we have much better armor, why don't we get started with the topic of the episode. So I have pre-smelted some bricks, and if you could probably imagine, what my current objective is to get a hold of a few resources required for a coke oven. Alright, so I am back, and inventory is pretty much cleaned up. I did get an ender pearl while I was out. I found an enderman underground right on the surface in a little cave, and was like, okay, well, I feel confident enough to take this guy out. Let's do it. There we go. But there are our 27 coke bricks. Now all we need is a hammer. That gets us our engineer's hammer. Now we can get started, and that gets us our coke oven. So this will get started. And you can see, of course, the progress is as usual. But I actually don't care so much about the coke oven or the coal coke more than I do about the creosote oil. As you can see, out of any food. And I really could use some, so we need to look into getting some bakeware, it looks like. And we're also going to need a pot, which is going to be 4 more bricks. So we'll just go ahead and get these things cooking up here. So we can do a pot. And as for, we have cooking with blockheads. Cooking with blockheads should have, there we go, a kitchen. So this is what we're looking for. We want to get one of these. So let's get ourselves another bucket. And in fact, let's just do some of the cooking with blockhead stuff. Why not? There we are. So now we have our bakeware, and we can set up some cooking for blockhead stuff somewhere. Thinking maybe we could do it up here, actually. I think cooking for blockhead stuff would be pretty fitting up here. And there we go. Now we have a crafting book material. We can do this guy, which consumed our book, but now we have a cooking table that can do most all the recipes. Now we can grab this guy. Hello, friend. Thank you. Now we have an infinite supply of milk, water, we can cook, we have, we should make one of these. So we'll get a few tool racks. I think 2 should be plenty. We can put them here. We can put our pot and our bakeware. And now, in theory, we should be able to, if we had everything that we wanted, we should be able to, in theory, make ourselves our crispy rice treat. We can grab some eggs. We're doing really well on eggs. The egg setup is very good. We have sugar, which is good. I can take a nap, which is good. And we can take a look at crispy. What are the ingredients that go into crispy? We need rice itself. Okay, so we can grab rice. We needed marshmallows, which is sugar, egg, water, and everything else. So that should be good. We should have everything we need to make marshmallows. That made us 37, which is fine. I knew we didn't have a lot. We're mostly restricted by our sugar. But now we can make crispy rice puff bars. Yay! And look at all that saturation. And watch it as it disappears. I did not know that that was a thing. Oh well. I think the only other thing that I really want to look into doing is maybe a... we can move this guy. That guy's very large. Can we put him... If I broke this guy... If put it here, does it still count? Doesn't look like it does. I want to come down here and grab a couple of the cabinets, because I have a lot of ingredients that I don't necessarily want to keep up there. We can put the milk there and see if that counts. I don't know if it's going to start working. It also hasn't really gotten a lot of milk stored up in it yet, so that could very well be part of it as well. So this process was definitely fruitful. We got quite a few things that we're going to want in the long run anyways, like our golden lasso that I was thinking about making sooner or later. And this also gives us the opportunity to get our delicious crispy rice puff bars. These make me very happy. So now we can go check on the coke oven and see how it's doing for creosote oil, because that's the next thing that we really want to get going with. Good. So we have a decent bit here. So now I've grabbed everything I think we should need in order to get ourselves a few treated sticks. And there we go. So that gets us all of our treated wood that we need. We're also going to need 3 pieces of steel. So we can get that going. We'll need 3 of you. We can go ahead and get those cooking up in the alloyer here. And so we will need... Don't ask me how I remember this recipe. I have no idea. Looks like we are definitely going to need some more treated wood, which is fine. We can handle that. So now we can make ourselves the last bit of our water wheel segments here. We can turn our water wheel segments into full-on water wheels. I'm going to keep that extra bucket around for later. And we have a few extra treated wood planks for now. All we need now is a kinetic dynamo. And get ourselves a kinetic dynamo. So, now that we have all of our stuff together for our kinetic dynamo and our water wheel, why don't we figure out a way to make this work and look nice out here, maybe by our water area over here, perhaps, because this is already perfectly valid of a space to do it in, so may as well kind of take advantage of it if we can. So maybe right here, this looks like a perfect space anyways. It's already the right shape that we would want. So what if we did, we could do 3 blocks there. So what we would want, essentially, is to have some sort of shape here that would resemble the outline of our mills. So we'll have our mills here, and they can, or our water wheels rather, here, and they can run and run and run and run and run all they want. But we're going to still need some space for them to run in. So we will need to do probably about this many blocks, I think. And then they need to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 blocks deep. So if we put the there, no, this needs to be 3 and then that, so it should be there, which means we need 3 blocks that way. So we'll need maybe some more clearance, I think. I'm not sure. We could actually just take up more space from out here. It'd be fine. At this point, I'm just tired of digging this area out. So we'd need 2 blocks of space from this direction. That's totally doable. So we can just do some temporary... I'm doing cobblestone here, so I remember to dig it up later. And we'll just dig all this stuff out, too. So if we put our kinetic dynamo there... No, not that. That. There we go. We'll go ahead and slap down some of our leadstone flux ducts. And we can... Once again, we'll need to plan an escape route. That's why I bring ladders. So now we have everything in place. We just need to make sure that it works. So if we put it back here, if we put our water source back there, no problems, right? And then if we do this, it shouldn't cause any additional problems. Now what we can do to increase the efficiency slightly, we can break these and place them back down now that the water has populated these spaces, and it'll actually produce a little bit more RF this way. Just come over here and replace this block, and we can just do dirt there. And that's a pretty reasonable little water setup that we have. It looks relatively cute, and we can have our power output. Our power output should poke up, I think, right here. Yeah, there we go. So the power is right here. We would end up having power just coming out of that, and we can use the and we can use wires from immersive engineering to traverse that all the way over here and get our power into our house and around to some of our industrial foregoing machines as well that I plan on having here very shortly. So why don't we look into some of that? We can look into the wiring, we can look into industrial foregoing, we can look into a lot of stuff here. Alright, so let's get into some of our wiring, shall we? So for the wiring, we're going to want to start with LV for now. That's fine. LV stuff is relatively straightforward. We should still have some leftover terracotta. Surprisingly little, though. We might go ahead and smelt up some more. Wouldn't be a bad idea, just to be on the safe side. And we have, for LV stuff, we're going to want these copper wire. So for that, we're going to want to get ourselves some forge hammer and shear action. We can craft stuff in the... I prefer to use the work table just because it makes these recipes a little bit easier. We'll do them over here in this one, so that way we can save the recipes. And so what we can do is we can save that recipe, and we can save this recipe. And now, anytime I want to craft these things, I can do recipes as simple as that. And we can keep a few sticks over here. So that way I can make these coils, and we can just save those here as well. So the wire coils are going to be straightforward. These are going to be how we transfer our power around. We're also going to need a little bit of terracotta and a little bit more copper. So we'll want probably just 8 relays for now. And then we'll grab a set of these. We also want to get some structural ducts. These are pretty straightforward. They're just a lead and some iron nuggets, and we already have some, so that's great. And the structural ducts are wonderful because you can make covers out of them. These covers, you can also place them, by the way, but they don't do anything by themselves. What they do work well with is if you grab a block that you want to make it look like. For example, we want to make ours look like cobblestone, I know for sure. So we'll grab cobblestone and a structural duct, and you'll see we can make a cobblestone cover. One last thing before we go, I want to grab some of our stone. Actually, no, before I go, I want to make more stone because I thought I had more than that. And we're going to need a lot more. Because I am going to sort of want to, we're going to want to start running some wires using some wire posts. And we're going to run into some wire shortages very soon if we're not careful. So we have our little wiring area over here, or our water wheel area over here, but we had this exposed bit that kind of bothers me. I don't know if it bothers you guys as much as it does me. Hopefully it does. That way I don't feel like I'm the only one. But what we can do is if we carefully place down our cover, we can cover it up so that it doesn't even look like there's anything there. Just like so. And now it literally looks very inconspicuous except for the tooltip that says cobblestone cover, and that our cover is somehow holding RF. And we can even make connections through these covers, which is awesome. So we can now use this to transmit power if we wanted to, which, if you could imagine, is the plan. So what we're going to do is make some what am I thinking of? We're going to make some posts, some treated wood posts using our creosote that we have over here. Probably not going to get a whole ton of these, but I do definitely want to get a couple of them. And it seems like we might be running a little bit low otherwise, so I want to be on the safe side here with our stone. Because I don't know exactly how many we're going to need, but I think it's a decent number of them. So we want to grab a few more of these. In fact, we can do these recipes over here as well. That way we can save them. And we want to do this recipe here. We'll save it as well. And that way we can use it later. We might do this one more time. I feel like we might need to. I also feel like it is nearing time that we make a better pickaxe. As you can see, our pickaxe is deteriorating pretty quickly on us here, which is unfortunate. But we can worry about that here in a minute. Just go ahead and grab a few more dark oak. Grab a few more treated planks. Now we can work on some treated sticks. And get some treated wood fence. Some stone bricks. And top one off with the other and get some wire posts or wooden posts. And these are wonderful for our wiring doohickeys. So we have a few of these. We have a engineer's hammer, very important thing to have on you at all times when you're doing immersive engineering work. And so we're going to want to just kind of make sure we can get a clear path of wiring across here. So this isn't going to be too terribly difficult, I can't imagine. What we're going to start with is we'll start here. Fortunately, our water wheel is conveniently placed. And another thing that a lot of people forget about or don't know is you can actually climb wooden posts like a ladder, which is an incredibly useful feature. So we will route our wiring straight down and over like such. And now that it is here, we can loop it like this. That way we can get it across. Now, I have a way that I like mine to look. You obviously don't have to maintain this appearance in the slightest, but I think it's cool, and you might too. So I'm going to do it anyways, and we'll see what you think. So I believe, come on, we'll do this and this to get these little posts to stick up. And I believe this might be the right distance. I hope it's not too far. Nope, it's too far. You can see in the tooltip how it says linking from. If it's orange, you're good, and if it's red, you're not. You're too far. So we'll try from here instead. Another fun fact is the engineer's hammer can break pretty much any of engineering or immersive engineering's own blocks. So it can break water wheels and most of the things that immersive engineering adds on its own. It can be broken relatively easily using the engineer's hammer. So I prefer this look of the double hanging wire like this. That's just something that I have always held preference to. So we have 2 blocks to spare. So as soon as we start running, once it says it's too far, we actually have 2 blocks to spare in theory. I think, if I'm understanding this correctly. And if that visual glitch happens to you, don't freak out. Just either do F3 and A, place a block, or adjust it. I wonder if it is too far. I don't know if it accounts for height. It does account for height. Okay. Cool. Okay, well today we learned that it does account for height. So as soon as it goes red, then really stop moving. Just do it there. Good to know. I'm always curious about these things. We had one more relay over here that I accidentally left behind. We're obviously going to need more copper wire coils, no biggie. But see, I think this looks reasonably nice. And honestly, we may not need them if we wanted to do a straight shot over, which we definitely could. So here's how I like to connect my housing, is I generally go straight in. Oh, I had this left over. I generally go straight into the wall, like so. So we will have a connection that just sticks out right there. We can, of course, cover that on both sides, the inside and the outside. Again, you will never know that there's anything there. And then you can do an LV wire connector. And you can hook up from there a little sprocket or a little something. And that also leaves us with one other end that we can continue to extend on downwards if we wanted to go to other locations, which we do. So this gives us some power from our water wheels, a decent bit hopefully, and I think the water wheel turned out pretty cool. Not sure how we can continue to implement them like this. This was kind of a stretch of an endeavor here, but I liked how this one looked, and it worked out really well. Normally they don't turn out so nice. So let's go ahead and make a couple more of the copper wire coils, just because I want to be on the safe side here. See, isn't that just incredibly convenient? We're able to do each one of these steps so quickly that we didn't even notice how big of a pain they usually are to craft. And we'll go ahead and grab... I guess we can do... What if we did 2 more sets of the LV wire relays? Plenty, plenty, plenty. Good. So we're doing really well now as far as resources and power specifically goes. We can go ahead and look into our industrial foregoing stuff now, I'd say. So that's probably where we'll wrap up the episode, is once we're done with the industrial foregoing stuff. But let's not speak too soon, because I feel like there's going to be a lot of stuff involved in that. So I don't think we're going to be done all that quickly. I think there will be quite a bit of work to do while we speak about that. So let's get to it, shall we? Let me leave those behind, because I did want to leave those there. And like I said, I have been, and I continue to... Oh, I've got that as well. Take our seeds and toss them in here to the squeezer. So you see, we were actually developing a decent amount of seed oil. So we want to plant gatherer. And a sower. I like to have very specific pop-ups for this stuff. So we just need iron tools for that guy and some gold gears. Gold gears don't have anything really to mess with us here. We also need a latex processing unit. All right. So I haven't used industrial for going, but I used MFR a lot, so it looks like most of this stuff is straightforward. We do need to get... We've got lots of impregnated sticks, which is great. We need to get a few for our tin gears that we're going to need. And we're going to need... Looks like we're going to need 3 tin gears. So that's good to be ready for that. We're going to need 12 and 12 to get our machine casings. And now, or machine frames rather. And now, this guy's just going to require an iron gear. 2 furnaces, was it? 2 furnaces, 4 more iron. And was that 2 redstone? 1 redstone. 1 redstone, 2 furnaces. So the way the latex gathering unit works, from what I understand, is that it just uses, oh man. There's no going back on that one. I had that recipe conflict myself, and I had to figure out a better way of handling that. We'll lock that in. I did not mean to make iron lattices. That was a waste of 5 iron. And there's not really any efficient way of getting that back, so that's, I'm just going to delete these. I don't even like building with them, honestly, so no sense in keeping them. That's okay. Not like a lot was lost there. So the latex processing units, from what I understand, is they use a tree. I wonder if it matters what kind of tree. Because I'd like for it to not be these forestry trees. In fact, I'm going to cut them down right now. I'm getting very tired of the butterflies. And quite frankly, I think they're just... They're not this bad on my server, but I could be missing something. But I'm tired of these butterflies, so I'm just going to cut down the cherry trees. Alright, so I've gotten rid of a few of the butterflies as well. And let's go ahead and get ourselves a latex processing unit going. And I think this is facing the right way. It's going to require some power. That's something I did not know. Okay, well, we can handle that. Am I using the right thing? Latex processing unit? Tiny dry rubber? Yeah, that would be the right thing. Okay. Well, that's a shame. I did not realize that was going to require that. Okay. Well, we can handle it. We can kind of handle it. We'll need to come up with a... I might just move this, honestly. Like, it's not like it's that big of a deal to me if I moved this somewhere else. And it would be a better use of my wiring. And my effort. Alright, so we have everything we need for our latex processing unit. It's going to require some sort of a sapling grown into a tree with a latex processing unit on the side and some power. And now that it's getting some power here, it should start creating fluid latex, I believe, if I'm understanding this correctly. It might need water. I wonder if that's the case. If it needs water, we'll have to deal with that as well. So we can grab water from the sink. So I have to admit, I don't think this is the thing that we're looking for. Alright, let's make the manual, because I thought I remembered how this worked, but evidently I don't. So, no fault of the mod whatsoever, I just have terrible memory. We'll grab ourselves that paper with the log and get ourselves the manual. So the manual, if we want to get started, introduction, machines don't auto-eject, neither do they pull, except RF. Tesla, Mac Power. Alright, great. To get started, you need to place a tree fluid extractor in front of a log to collect latex and pump latex into a processing unit with some water to get tiny rubber. Okay, so what was it called? A tree extractor? Tree fluid extractor, okay. So no, I hate that frickin' GUI. Tree fluid extractor. So tree fluid extractor, oh, easy peasy recipe. So we'll need a furnace. I don't see why it involves a furnace. It's not smelting anything, but whatever. We need another iron gear. We will need 6 pieces of stone and a piece of redstone. And let's see. So we have furnace, we have iron gear, we have redstone, we have tree fluid extractor. Done. And then the water part is going to be kind of tricky for this machine here, but not terribly tricky. So seems like we're just going to generally need fluids. So this is the behavior that I had expected. So what we need at this point is a few things. At least if we want to automate the production that we are looking for here. We want to get an aqueous accumulator, and we want to get some fluid ducts and some servos. So let's do that. Let's grab aqueous accumulator. And the fluid ducts are going to be really easy. The fluid ducts are just going to be, all of this is a temperate fluid, so we can just do temperate fluid ducts, which are just some glass and some copper. And then a servo we'll look into in a minute, but an aqueous accumulator is going to be copper gear. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 of you. And the rest of this is just 4 more iron, 4 pieces of glass. Let's see, so we'll do this guy, this guy. We will need 4, 8, and 8, and see, 8 of these. So we can grab these. And then we've already made one of those actually, but we didn't keep the recipe. And that's okay, we don't really need to. We don't make these a whole lot. For the redstone servos, we don't use them too much. We need another bucket, because I'm not giving up my 2, and some glass. So bucket and aqueous accumulator. Yes, there we go. So now we have an infinite water supply that we can pipe into that guy. Just grab those for now. And so that will go on the bottom. And the aqueous accumulator is not going to require any power whatsoever. You can put him there, put that there, and now you should start getting infinite water, which is priority number 1. Priority number 2 is getting the fluids from this guy to this guy, because as you see, the fluid latex is not being input, because this guy is not auto extracting, nor will it ever. It specifically says that it won't, and I don't blame it. It shouldn't. So we'll grab a oh, we don't want to delete my entire search. We'll do servo. So the servo, we'll just do an iron one, so we're going to need 2 more iron nuggets, a piece of iron as a whole, piece of glass, and 2 pieces of redstone, right? No, other way around. No, just that, but 2 of those. And now we can grab ourselves just a very simple iron servo. And the servo can go in between our fluid duct here. Extract always active, and there goes our latex. Look at that. We are finally getting to work with some tiny dry rubber. Not a very difficult recipe, it just took a second. And then dry rubber can be turned into plastic by smelting. So, were there other ways of making this? Not that I know of. So, welcome to the mod. We're going to now need to get to the rest of it. But I think we've spent enough time now on this episode to call it a day. I will see you guys in the next episode. Sorry that this kind of ended up on a bit of a cliffhanger, but that means next episode is going to be super fun. We'll have the entire episode to get everything set up and beautifully perfect, so we don't have to rush anything at all. I hope you guys enjoyed the starts of this. I'm really enjoying the fact that everything we're doing is relatively different. We have our little solar flower still giving us a little bit of power here and there. We have way too many butterflies that I'm trying to get rid of still. And we have a nice little house, which is a first. Normally we don't have houses that look nice this early on. So I hope you guys are enjoying the series. Let me know what I can do in the comments, please. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care.